Welcome back to the G-Spot. I'm your host, Geoffrey Michele, part 2 of episode 14. As you recall, the early part of the show, we were kicked out of the studio because they had to clean us out of here so they could set up a production for later on. And technically, we were very blessed to be in the studio at the time because we weren't officially in there because the Medium Rare boys, who are no longer on the cable access channel, decided not to use this time slot, so we're taking up their time slot. So for a cable access group that's wanting to go to war with us, I guess there's no point in going to war with us when you're not even on the air anymore. That's why we said you were a job that was not well done. Anyway, like I said, I'm your host, Geoffrey Michele. Welcome back to the studio version of the G-Spot. We got my buddy Casey over here on the piano there. Give a little shout out to Casey. All right, Casey. Where's Casey? There's Casey. Hey, do a little wave, Casey, so everybody knows who you are. There you go. That's special Casey right there. And again, once again, our guest for the second part of the show, who we just saw in the Terry T commercial, a mock commercial for Terry T. Smith District 44. Actor Morgan Brown, folks. Morgan Brown. Woo! Morgan Brown. Let's give him a little.
How y'all doing?
Morgan Brown.
It's good to be here. Good to be here, Jeff.
Excellent.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you, Morgan. You know, since you're our first guest, I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
There are other guests?
What, huh?
There are other guests coming?
Not today.
Okay.
Not today.
So I'm the only guest.
You're the main guest for today.
Right, right.
And first thing I want to ask you is the name Morgan.
It's my dad's name. Just following suit.
That's
no, but this name Morgan, it's a phenomenon. I mean, I've heard it in so many movies. I see my name on TV more than anybody, and it is just a crazy little thing that I have. Like, I don't watch much TV, so when I do catch TV, like a football game, for instance, the moment I look up, I'll see the player named Morgan, right?
Really?
And I don't watch movies. I watch movies a lot, but I mean, the movie Signs has the name Morgan in it, and the movie The Ring has the name Morgan in it, and it's just eerie. Morgan is everywhere. Morgan is out there, and I think that the whole world is preparing to meet me.
There's a J.P. Morgan.
Well, that's,
Now, let me think. You were in the military, but you were court-martialed, is that correct?
No, I was up for a court-martial the last 8 months of my military experience.
What branch of the military? What were you
I was in the infantry in the U.S. Army. I could have chosen to do anything. My scores were high enough, but I felt like if I'm going to go fight for my country, this is how I need to fight because, you see that movie Platoon, that's what a war is, I wanted to see if I could survive it, too, by the way. And I did.
How long were you in the military?
3 years, 14 weeks.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, so you were in the military. Your name's Morgan. You're it's like a dating. We're going to set you up with a date out there. That's right.
Yeah, I was court-martialed. I was married in the military. I got married, and then I got separated. And one night, me and the boys were going out, and we were going to strip at this club. We'd been singing karaoke there, and this woman had this strip contest, and I was looking pretty good, so we all went out and stripped. And I made $45 that night. Quickest money I've ever made in my life.
$45?
$45
wow,
doing a Boys to Men, sexy, slow. And I met a woman, and afterwards we went out and had a good time. Well, she left me a note, and she wrote a note and left it in her car. And her husband, I didn't know she was married. I did not know she was married. Found this note. And turns out that he was best friends with my company commander. So the next morning, they call me into the office to stand at attention to my commander. And, I'm bombarded with these questions. The whole chain of command is sitting there. And, I'm the commander's RTO.
All right.
Everybody relies on me for information. And he asked me if I knew who this woman was, and I said yes. And, asked me if I'd slept with her, and I said yes. And, well, did you know she was married? And I said, well, before I answer any more questions, sir, I'd like to seek legal representation. And so for the last 8 months of my military experience, I was up for a court-martial. Turned out there were 4 other guys in the battalion that came forth, and I was quite a celebrity in the military. I used to do stand-up comedy, make fun of the chain of command, imitate them.
Well, let me ask you this. Was your striptease, was that your first stage experience?
No, that was not the first stage experience.
What was your first stage experience?
My first stage experience was in high school. I was in Spanish class, and this woman, this girl behind me, they're girls in high school. She sure did look like a woman, though. Anyway, she told me that I should audition for the school play. So I went up to the school play, and you know, I was kind of nervous. Never done this kind of thing before. So I listened to everybody else audition, and I just didn't understand where they were coming from with the way they were reading these lines out of the script. You know, I had this whole idea of what could sound better. You know, so I got up there and I did this voice, and I was like, you know, it was for Heaven Can Wait, this play, and I played Max Levine, and I came out there and I was talking like this, and I was, you know, getting my intentions down and all that stuff, and I did really well. And she actually offered me the lead role in this play, but I'd never been in a play before, and I didn't really want the responsibility of having to memorize all these lines. You know, it's quite a task, and you know, quite large. Right. And so I said, well, I'll take the second lead, though. I'll try that out. So I did that, and the first time I walk on stage, Jeff, I got a standing ovation because at the time I was class president, and I had already gained the respect of the football players and everybody nasty, you know, with my attitude. And I took a bow, which is, you know, you can't do that. You can't take a bow when you're coming out in character. You know, I was in trouble. But I took a bow, then I went right into my character. It was just, it was an incredible moment. Incredible moment.
Now, I understand recently you were just in a Oklahoma Gazette commercial?
Yes, I am. You know, I got this call. They booked me, and I showed up at 3D Studios, and, you know, I got undressed. You had to bring your whole wardrobe. They said, bring your whole wardrobe. Let's see what you got. So I go up there. I take all my clothes up there, and they created a little cubicle so all the actors could change and whatnot. And I set my closet up in this cubicle, and I took all my clothes off. You know, I was down to a, you know, T-shirt and underwear. But no one, everybody was like, wow, what's this guy doing? And I didn't realize that there was a problem, because I'm a theater actor, you know. I'm always undressing in front of people. It doesn't bother me at all. But the guy comes over, he goes, oh, yeah, we want you to wear this and this and this. And I felt really good that I had all my stuff. We did the commercial. It's a fabulous commercial. It was a lot of fun.
I haven't seen it yet on TV. But
you haven't seen it?
People say you're the hit of the commercial.
Really? Really?
Word on the street is the people say, yeah, the best thing about the commercial is Morgan Brown.
Well, that's nice of people to say. Who are these people, and how can they give me money?
Well, they're women. I'll tell you that. For sure.
They're women.
Women love you, buddy.
Women, man.
But speaking of women, who is this? Let's see if we can get one of the camera guys to do a nice little tasty close-up of this baby.
Can you zoom up in that?
Can we get it? We'll talk about this here.
This is my daughter, Alex.
This is your daughter, Alex?
Yes, Alexandra Morgan Brown.
And she changed from this to
and now
this,
right? Now she's there. Can you get it any closer? Because, you know, she's really cute.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. But
let's zoom in a little closer, kid. Let's get.
She's 11.
She's 11.
11. She lives in northwest Oklahoma City.
I'll go out like this.
And I see her probably every other weekend I can, you know.
There we go.
She was the best part.
As close as we can get.
Yeah.
Well, she's a, you know, here at the G-Spot, we always like to, you know, give shout-outs to, we like to give shout-outs, so special shout-out to Alexandra, your daughter, and that's very cool.
She'll appreciate that. She'll appreciate that.